Good evening, everyone. Before we get started tonight, I would like to introduce Matt Spann. Matt, are you in the room? Yes,
There
okay.
he is.
Hello, Matt. Matt is the Director of Missions for the 30 churches that comprise the Cherokee Strip Baptist Association.
Thank you. Let's go to the Lord in prayer. Heavenly Father, as we come before you this evening, we want to praise you as the God of all wisdom. And there are a lot of decisions to be made tonight and plans to be discussed. We pray that you would pour out your wisdom generously on all these who provide leadership in our schools. And we want to pray not only for Dr. Floyd and others who are on this board, but we pray as well for our teachers, that you would give them wisdom, strength, and energy day by day as they shape the future by investing in our students. And we pray as well for students that they would be motivated and learn and grow, and that as they would become leaders who would make a difference in the future of Enid and other places where they end up living, that they would be people who would give and serve and make a difference in the places where they live. Pray for the proceedings this evening, that they would bring honor to you, and that everyone involved would be guided by your wisdom. This we ask in Jesus' name. Amen.
Thank you, Matt. Let me just say a word
Thank
before
you.
we open the meeting. Before we officially open the meeting, I wanted to take a moment to make sure that everybody saw the news that one of our very own, Owen K. Garriott, passed away today in Huntsville, Alabama. And don't know anything about the arrangements yet, but obviously one of arguably the most famous Enid natives that went on to walk in space and do a lot of other great things, including founding Leonardo's. So if we could just pause here a minute to have a moment of silence for Owen K. Garriott and his family, please. Thank you very much.
And with that, I will call the meeting to order. Let the record show board members present are Kyle Whitehead, Willa Jo Fowler, Matt Sampson, and myself. And that's it. I can move on, right? Yeah. Okay, and then
Yes,
we will move to presentations. Mrs. Fitzgerald, yes, would you lead us?
Good evening. We're going to start this evening with our pledge leader from Adams Elementary School, who will be introduced by Principal Reba Gregory.
Good evening. I am very proud to introduce to you a nice young man from Adams Elementary. He's a fifth grader. This is Trace Beddoes. He is the son of Michael and Hannah Beddoes. His activities include student council, Real Men Sing, fifth grade leadership team where he serves as the pledge leader and attendance assistant, and he is the Adams flag helper and a library assistant. He has been recognized as the Great Expectations Student of the Month and the Enid News and Eagles Star Student. He has also received the Junior Citizenship Award. His hobbies include reading, writing, video games, riding his bike. He is very proud that his big brother is a representative at Longfellow Middle School.
All right. You could stand, please.
Present. Arms.
Salute, pledge.
I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Order. Arms.
Yep, you want to go to. If you parents want to come up and get a picture, feel free. Yeah. You're going to get a picture over there by the blue curtain.
Stand right in front of the
Good job, Trace.
Next, I would like to hear from our secondary spotlight student from Longfellow Middle School, who will be introduced by Principal John Mitchell.
All right, this is Kaylee Wilkins Still, and where's she at? She's a quiet leader, as I would call it, so I'm not going to steal any of her thunder because I feel like her words will be short and to the point, but she is a great student, and so I look forward to hearing what she has to say.
Pull that microphone up a little bit. There we go. Good job.
My Mustang experience included me being in honor society, and now I'm the president. I've been an academic bull for all 3 years, and I stayed dedicated to my academics.
All right. Well, thanks for coming tonight. Do we have any parents that want to get pictures? Yeah, come on down. One more. All right, good job.
For our first recognition this evening, we have been hearing for several weeks about the exciting partnership between our Islander Club students and the Field Museum in Chicago. And tonight they are here to tell us about that experience and for us to celebrate their accomplishment. So I'd like to introduce Assistant Principal Cindy Black to share about the experience and to introduce the students.
Thank you, Amber. Just to give you guys a little bit of information about the Field Museum in Chicago. It is an anthropology museum. It is absolutely amazing. And so if you have not been to it, when you do get the chance to go to Chicago, I highly recommend it. It was founded in 1893. And it has a whole education department that works with schools and students all around Chicago. And I have to admit, I knew nothing about it when Amber called early this fall, and said, we have been contacted by someone at the Field Museum, and they would like to collaborate with some of our Marshallese students for an exhibit. So I did a little bit of research, and what you see online does not compare to what it is in real life. To start it off, Enid High School is the very first school outside of Chicago to work with the Field Museum. And the fact that they contacted us is huge for us. They are procuring an exhibit just for the Marshallese Islands. And through social media, found out about our population and reached out to us. And it has been quite an experience. We had a representative from the Field Museum come to Enid High School for Islander Night and made the announcement to the community. And I still don't think any of us had an idea how big it was going to be for us to go. And within 3 weeks, Ms. Palmer, who is the ELL director at Enid High, and I and Mr. Darrow had selected 5 students to go to Chicago with us, and on a trip to a museum is kind of how we were looking at it. And then we got there and found out it was so much more. The students spent, we got there on a Sunday, we did some tourist things, we got to experience Chicago traffic and cold and rain, and then spent 2 full days in the museum being taught about the museum and what they wanted from our students. I think the most profound thing in the trip for Ms. Palmer and Terry Mote, who got to go with us, was invited as a community member, was to watch our students grow in just a matter of 2 days. Their leadership skills, their communication skills, and to watch them become the teacher. Because the people from the museum wanted to know from our students what is important to your culture. And they have a very tiny exhibit right now, but they have a huge underground collection of Marshallese items. And they didn't know what a lot of them were. And to see our students and Mr. Mote educate the museum on what these items were was amazing. I think just about every picture while we were working, every picture that we took and posted on Facebook and sent to Amber and sent to parents, you could see the engagement of the students with the museum personnel, and it was truly a two-way street. They treated us like royalty. It was amazing. They sent a van for us the last morning to pick us up at 7 o'clock and take us to the airport. It was a black stretch limo. Mm-hmm. It was just an amazing opportunity for these students. And when we left, the plans were for 2 members of the museum to come back to Enid, which they will be here next week, and meet with our Islander population at the high school, and meet with the community, and Mr. Mote is putting that together on a Wednesday night. And we got a phone call after we got back. We had barely landed, and people from the museum had so much appreciation and really had so much fun with our students that others begged to come, so now they're sending 4. So we're really happy for that. So next week, these 4 members from Chicago will be coming to Enid and meeting with all of us to get more input on what to put in the exhibit. And they are also bringing photo albums of people from the islands that they have no idea who is in them. While we were there, Mr. Mote actually identified one of the people in the pictures as his mother. So it's going to be a really cool event. And we get to go back in December to see the exhibit once it's put together.
Wow.
So
very cool.
So we thank you for your support. It was a great trip, and it's not over, and we are actually in discussion and hoping to make this a reoccurring activity for us with the Field Museum, not just a one-time thing.
All right,
So-
very good. So we got a group here with you today?
We do. First of all, Lori Palmer went with us, and she's not able to be here tonight. She's with softball. And Harrington Lavin was one of our members, and he's not with us tonight. So
Oh, there he is.
Harrington's here.
He's here. Come on down.
Okay, I will call the students by name. Izola Hong.
then if you'll just hang out there, we'll get a group picture here in just a minute.
Harrington Lavin. Evinsula Malalo. J.T. Sybach. Faith Tommy. And Mr. Terry Mote.
There's Terry. All right. Get a group picture, and anybody else that would like to come down and take a picture will come on down. Amber, did you get what you need? Well, that was quite an experience, and thanks for representing us so well in Chicago. Good job. Let's give them another hand.
I think when I got that email last fall, when I forwarded it to Mrs. Black and to Mr. Darrow, I said, I think in 18 years this might be the coolest email I've ever received in the Field Museum, and our students did not disappoint. So very excited about that.
Good job.
And also very excited about our next recognition. It is for the National Junior Honor Society chapter at Longfellow Middle School. They recently not only attended the state conference, but earned the title of state office and will host the conference next year. So to tell us a little bit about that, I'd like to introduce their sponsor, Carrie Vega, who will also introduce her students to us.
Good evening. As she said, I am the Honor Society Advisor at Longfellow Middle School. This is my first year. Had I known stepping into my role that we would have gotten this far in my first year, I would have said you were probably kind of crazy. Mm-hmm. So Honor Society, we definitely look for leadership and character, but also citizenship and service. And that's what got us to where we are, and we even have more in store for next year. We are the president of the Oklahoma chapter, and as she said, we get to host the conference next year, so we'll definitely have our plates full. But I mean, we've accomplished so much in 1 year. I'm not worried about it at all. And these kiddos they've helped me, I started from scratch, and they've helped me find my way. When I wasn't sure what I was doing, they made sure that, I got what I needed to be prepared for them. And I couldn't have done it without them. And do I go ahead and? All right, and I'd like to go ahead and introduce them now.
Okay.
First up is Esther Camacho. Adrian Kinney.
Oh, she brought the big hammer with her.
Oh,
We're
yes.
in trouble.
We are quite proud of that gavel. Yael Molina. Jordan Smith. Kirsten Smith.
Mr. Mitchell, come on down and get in the picture with them.
Kaylee Wilkinseal. And Beatrice Villanueva.
All right, we'll get a few group pictures here, and
I'm glad you brought the gavel. You won't miss that picture.
anybody else want to come down and get pictures? Well, that is quite an accomplishment to be president of the a state organization, so congratulations. Well done. Yeah, that's right.
Okay, moving on, we have no audience to visitors tonight, so that takes us directly to the superintendent's report.
Okay, it was brought to my attention that the superintendent's report goes item 3A through 3Z. So I apologize for that, but it'll go quicker. It'll really go quicker than that, I swear. A lot of those are just dates to remember and that type of thing. But also on the agenda tonight is it's just full of good news, not the least of which is this first item, and that is that it's not every day that we get to say that we are the recipients of a $1 million grant, and that is what we're here to talk about next. And T-Mobile and Empower Ed grant award to EPS for, among other things, creating hotspots for students who do not have internet access at their house. And we've got our IT director, Jeff Erbel, is here, along with a representative from T-Mobile, their regional director from Houston, right? No, Dallas, okay, are here. So both of you come on down to the microphone, and I'll let Jeff say a word first, but this is a total of $1,088,000 for hotspots and a number of other things. So I'll let Jeff say a word about that, and then Derek Casebolt is the regional director for T-Mobile. Let him say a word, and then we have a certificate, and Tori and I'll come down and present that, and we'll get a few pictures. Jeff?
Good evening. And when we rolled out our one-to-one, we knew we had an issue with some of our students not having access at home. So we've been looking for the last two and a half years, trying to figure out how we can expand connectivity at home. We've tried different options. We've added some connectivity to a few of our buses, and we continue to look for partners in Enid to where we give hotspots to our students. But none of those were ever able to meet the full goal of bridging the homework gap. We have many students that just don't have internet at home, so they're not able to do their homework once they leave the school. So we've been trying to find something that can give access to them 24/7. And fortunately, T-Mobile has a grant. We discovered that last fall, and we went through the application process, had a nice little interview with T-Mobile, understood their goals, understood our goals, and our goals matched in line with what the grant was looking for. And luckily, we were awarded the Empowered grant, which will give all of our students connectivity. So I'm going to let Derek talk a little bit more about T-Mobile and how that grant is all going together.
Thank you. Thank you, Jeff. And Dr. Floyd and board members, we appreciate the opportunity to be able to partner with Enid Public Schools. Your mission statement of excellence, success, and pride fit very much in line with T-Mobile's company core values. We are so excited to help these kids who don't have proper connectivity get connected to the World Wide Web in a very safe way. We filter all of the content. We work closely with Jeff and his staff to make sure that that filtering is there. But we are so excited about the opportunities it's going to bring for these kids. And we believe that every student should have equal access to the internet so that they can succeed in life. And we are very excited about this. We're so happy to partner with you guys. T-Mobile's $25 million grants across the country is wrapping up, and Enid Public Schools was one of our last awardees, and so we're really excited to work with you guys.
Well, that's exciting and a testament to the fact that where there's a will, there is a way, and so we're so very appreciative of T-Mobile, and this money will go a long way toward helping a lot of kids. So let's give T-Mobile a great big hand, and we'll present a certificate. We have a big check too. Well, I did want to say another thank you to Jeff Herbal. That grant would not have happened if not for him and his team working on that grant. So well done, sir. Thank you very much. All righty, that's exciting. Next up, we've got this month our strategic plan committee report. Just happens to be facilities, and we hear from Michael each month on our facilities report, but this we're killing two birds tonight, so hear his report, and that will also suffice for our facilities committee chair report. Mr. Shuck?
Did I get B and C off there? Or
Do what?
On your A through Z, I was wondering if we could.
Oh, yeah, you're item B, so
Yeah.
we got a long way to go.
Yeah, okay. So basically, part of the strategic plan, I thought it'd be a good time to kind of look back and see a little bit about what we've done and it's always good to kind of, after you go through all the mess of getting something done, to see it and kind of with fresh eyes. And so I had just a couple here to look at. Coolidge, we just got done with this, has a nice new sign out in front. Garfield, we had a 10 classroom addition. Taft, of course, here in the image, has 4 classrooms. A security vestibule we added. Waller, we had the cafe, the cafeteria, the band room, and some classrooms that remodeled. That was one of those where you walk up to the kids and ask them what they think, and you're always afraid of that answer because you know they're going to tell you the truth. But you got a lot of positive comments about that one and several of those other ones. So, moving on to kind of our to the progress report. And let me say one thing about these next 3: Adams, Northwestern, and Longfellow. Everybody says that we don't quite pay enough attention to the east side or something. Of course, that's just not true in any means anyway. These next 3 projects, we've been able to take the budget and on savings from other projects and been able to put them toward east side projects. It's over $2 million. There's $571,000 here. So when we're doing the plus and minusing on some of these projects, it's not because we're taking stuff away from specifically these east side ones. We've already added stuff to them. Any way we can get stuff over there. So I wanted to point that out. I know that's always something we hear, that we're not paying attention to it, but these 3 projects here really show that we're doing the exact opposite, trying to get this a lot over there. Adams, the foundations are nearing completion. The elevator shaft, it's starting up over there. We're preparing to move our offices so we can start the demo work on the inside so we can get a little of that done before the summer and over the summer. Northwestern, the slab's complete. The steel starts next week. Longfellow, we've got the flooring going in on the 2nd floor, and then the pods. This is a little area. If you look down to the left of that image is the hallway, the main hallway up there on the 2nd floor. We've got our art room. It's ready for its flooring. The steel frame on the outside, this is an old picture here. We didn't have time to get a new one on this one, but the steel frame that you see there now, it's complete. The exterior studs on the exterior of that are also complete. The soccer field, I hadn't really shown you a very clear picture of this. We just recently did this. Enid Sports, of course, is our partner on this one. And you can see there the large gray box on the right is Longfellow Middle School, and you can see the soccer field there on the left. The green or the gray area, little light gray area in the middle of that is a set of basketball courts, a volleyball court, and some tetherball. That's what we call the playground area. We'll be bidding that here March 8th, so we'll be getting that going here pretty
March.
soon.
We're past March.
Yeah. May 8th.
Coming up on May.
There we go. Okay. So we'll be bidding that out. Yeah, that's great. I'll follow my notes for sure. So that's moving along pretty well. The high school, you can see this image. I show you this every time, but now you can see that this image is starting to become part of what you're seeing out there right now. You can see those the green columns right now, and the big eyebrow across the top is real similar to what you see there with the brick columns and the eyebrow across the top. So we're getting close to where now you can see it, and it's starting to come together there. And that is really nice. This is standing in the area of the homes that we had demoed just recently, and looking back at it, you never really had that view of the high school before, and this is going to be a really beautiful view of it. The gym roof is nearing completion. The glass installation around C, which we call, or the black box theater area, That's moving and getting complete there, and paving has started. All that's that enclosure stuff that I've talked about to be able to where we can finish the inside without it getting rained on. To kind of start or to finish where I usually start, which is with the schedule, we kind of know that here recently we've had a lot of rain and cold weather and various things that kind of slowed us down. So we took a look at the schedules, and all of them are kind of a little bit behind, so we knew we needed to focus on them. We didn't want to be coming in at the end of this and being late and saying, well, what can we do now to finish these up fast? We wanted to kind of go back in and start looking at them now to see if we can speed them up right now. So discussed that with our contractors, specifically on the high school with Henson Construction. Of course, that was when you start pushing people, they want to push back a little, and he was telling me all the things that they were doing right now to speed things up. I said, hey, that's all great and good. Let's try to see what we can do next to get something else going. And they took on that challenge and were able to start looking at the critical path, the things you have to get done before anything else can get done. And they started looking at that, and of course the roofing and the glazing, those were some of those things. So they went back and they've added 8 workers to the roofing. They've doubled a lot of the various crews, including the paving crew. The glazers have actually leapfrogged the masons. Usually you put the bricks around and then you put the windows in the openings. In this case, we're going to start putting the windows in and then bring the bricks around afterwards. It changes up the sequence just a little bit, helps us get to that enclosure a little bit faster. And the other thing we're doing is inside, we're stacking our drywallers. They're going to stack the drywallers to where they'll have guys going along the top of the wall and other guys going along the bottom of the wall, so we can get 2 different crews in there at the same time. So Henson's really started kind of stepping up here to try to make up for that little bit of lost time that we have. So hopefully that'll show some results when we get to the end, instead of getting there and just hoping we get done. So I think we're trying to do that on most everything, where we're looking at ways to speed things up now when we know we've had a little bit of a hiccup with this weather like everybody's had. So,
Do you think that's going to be necessary to do a similar type process out there at Northwestern in order to be ready for school in the fall, or not?
We'll be looking at ways to speed that up. Right now, we don't have that yet. We don't have that many things that have been affected by the weather to be able to correct that, but we'll be looking at those things as we go along, because they're really trying to stack things up now, which is the other way you do that critical path. You need to really look at that critical path and make sure you get each one of those items down as tight as you can, because that determines your overall. You can't do A before B, and you can't do B, you have to do A, B, and C in order. If you get those tasks down real tight, then you make up some time there. So That's what they're looking at right now, is that critical path and seeing how they can make that more efficient. And that's it. Any other questions?
Is that it?
Yep.
Any questions? All right. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. All right. Enrollment numbers is next. We, as of April the 1st, we were at 7,707, and that's roughly where we were last month when we met. Early childhood enrollment, you have an attachment on that, and we started enrollment for our early childhood programs just a few weeks ago, and that seems to be rolling along nicely. And again, we're going to have 4 classrooms out there at Northwestern to fill up, and looks like we are on track to be able to do that. Let's see, next, I believe I mentioned this last month, but I did get the official appointment from Governor Stitt as the Compact Commissioner for the Oklahoma Council for Educational Opportunity for Military Children. I'm not sure if I can get all that on my card or not, but or my forehead, I'm not sure which, but that was quite an honor to be appointed by the governor to that commission, and looking forward to serving. Pam Deering has been serving in that capacity for about a decade, and so she was wanting to get off, and since she now has a new job at COSA, running as executive director at COSA, and so she and Mike Cooper forwarded my name to the governor to serve in that role, and happy to serve. Next, I wanted to mention to you that Dusty Hugaboom has really been working hard on a process whereby some of our students will be participating both at the middle school level and the high school level on a 9-week experimental science experiment project that then will be forwarded to NASA, and then one or more experiments will be selected to go into space. So we're looking forward to that. I appreciate Dusty, one of our teachers at the high school, leading that charge, and that would be outstanding. And wouldn't that be a quite appropriate honor for Owen K. Garriott if one of our students' science projects got to go into space as well? So looking forward to that, and appreciate Mr. Huckaboom's effort to lead that charge. We did have last Friday the EPS Commons Intergenerational Early Childhood 10-year anniversary. That was just a wonderful ceremony, and appreciate Matt coming and representing the board in that, and got so many good positive comments from that, and Mitchell was there, and we started off in the chapel and then moved outside to unveil the sign, and it was just a really nice day, and that program continues to be just a shining star for us. The intergenerational program, as I said that day and say all the time, is just win-win for the early childhood students and the residents out there in that assisted living facility, and so really proud of that, and it was nice to be able to celebrate the anniversary of that partnership and also unveil the sign. So if you haven't been by there, drive down Oakwood and take a look at that sign. It's really well done. Our choir is currently in Chicago. We talked about our Marshallese students helping out at the Field Museum to help with that display, and they're back safely from Chicago, and our EHS choir is in Chicago now for a trip, and from all indications they are enjoying that, and I believe they're performing as well there. Wanted to remind you that Wednesday of this week, April the 17th, is Mayor Shuey's final State of the City address, 11:45 at the Convention Hall, and guest speaker other than Mayor Shuey, who is terming out this year, will be former Governor Frank Keating as well. $10 per person for that lunch buffet if you'd like to come and join us for that, and kind of send Mayor Shuey off on the right foot and thank him for his service. Also wanted to remind you about the newly formed Parent Legislative Action Committee, PLAC. We've had a few pockets of that organization formed across the state, and Enid's is just the latest one of those. We had the kickoff event here a couple of weeks ago out at Autry, and I wanted to remind you about the next upcoming meeting, and all of you are invited to attend if you'd like to, and that's coming up Thursday of this week, 6 p.m. out at Autry Technology Center. So everyone is welcome to join us there if you'd like to. Basically, that's just parents coming together to try to promote public education and all that entails legislatively. You've got a copy of Dr. Greg Garn's article on strengthening schools in Oklahoma, and he is Dean of Education at OU, and has basically put together a list of items that he feels are research-based and are items that school districts and or legislators might want to focus on in trying to help us with the teacher shortage. Now, some things are doable by local school districts, but many of those items on that list will take legislative action, and so we appreciate Dr. Garn putting that together. Willie Joe?
I hope that if you haven't had a chance to read this thoroughly, you will. I noticed some of the items that he listed are similar to those in our visioning project, and some of them I'm really happy to say that we are already doing and have been doing in Enid. But there are many of these things that we could start supporting or start working for. So I know the print on mine was a little small, and there's a lot of it. So if you haven't read the whole thing, I'm encouraging the other board members to study this, because there are excellent ideas, and Dr. Garn is a well-recognized leader in education. So these have, I know, a lot of research and support behind them. So I'm hoping that there are some of these things that we can start working on.
Yep, very good. Yeah, I appreciate him putting that together, and I do agree with you too. We've already implemented some of those things. We have many others included in our strategic plan. Carver Early Childhood Education Center named recently as the newest Oklahoma A+ demonstration school. Randy, would you like to say a word about what all that entails, Oklahoma A+ demonstration school?
Well, it's exactly pretty much what it says. It will be a total arts integration where the teachers go through training and they learn how to really integrate the arts into the math and reading and all of the things that they do at Carver. We already have that going on at Emerson, and is it Eisenhower? I think Eisenhower is getting ready to do it as well, so it's very exciting.
Okay, thank you, sir. Yeah, that is exciting, and it's always nice to get those statewide designations like that. Enid High School, I wanted to mention that Mr. Darrow rolled out as the students started taking their ACT test this week, or I guess this past week. He rolled out an incentive that the kids kind of got excited about as an incentive to do the very best they can on that ACT test, and that is if they get to a 19 or higher, then they get a reserved parking place at the high school for next year. Is that right, Dudley? Yeah, so I think they got pretty excited about that, and yeah, that is good, so good job. Wanted to remind board members that the United Suburban Schools Administrators Association Spring Leadership Conference comes up at the end of April 25th through the 27th, and I'm currently vice president of that organization, so I'll be participating in that. Also got several other dates here to remind you about. We've got the Enid High School prom coming up on April 27th at 8 p.m. at 81 Ranch. So Willa Jo will be putting on her dancing shoes and cutting a rug that evening. So we might want to get our cameras ready for that. Special board meeting comes up on May the 2nd at noon right here, and that will be a very short meeting, but we need to take official action to approve our latest bond sale, and I believe Carol contacted everyone. Looks like we have yeses for that brief meeting from Amanda, Willa Jo, Colin, Trent, Matt, and Tori. What about you? You're yes or no? Who did I miss? Okay, so we'll have a quorum for that. Appreciate that. And few other dates here. May Fete comes up at Government Springs Park, coming up on May 7th at 6:15, and we're going to cross our fingers that we do not have rain that evening. I think we had to put it off 3 or 4 or 8 or 10 times. Yeah, I'll probably just jinx us there, but I'm going to hold out hope for good weather until proven otherwise. You know that the Strait Center out at Autry Technology Center was named for Dr. Jim Strait, a longtime superintendent out there at Autry Technology Center, and they are having their 10th anniversary celebration as well coming up on May the 8th, 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. If you'd like to join us out there for that, we'd love to have you. Prairie View Technology and Production Club has again been awarded the Panasonic Kid Witness News Team Top 3 Best Videos Award, and they will be traveling to New York City May 9th through the 12th for the final round of that competition. And you might remember a year or two ago they made it that same competition, and as I recall, if they had won that one, well, then they were going to represent internationally. So who knows if they'll end up winning that round in New York City, but I guess if they do, they get to go on to the international competition as well. But that's pretty exciting, and what a great experience.
Didn't they go to Rio de Janeiro too? Didn't someone?
Oh, that's correct. They did. I forgot about that.
The next year, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, wow, that's pretty cool. But what a great experience for kids, elementary kids especially, to get to experience New York City and be in a competition as well. So we applaud them and all of the adults that have helped them with that as well. The second annual Allen Family Opportunity Scholarship Dinner comes up May 22nd out at Oakwood, 5:30, Oakwood Country Club, 5:30 to 7:30. Chamber of Commerce Washington, D.C. trip comes up again this year. They moved it back. We've been doing it, I think, in March or April, and for some reason they moved it back this year. It's May 13th through the 16th. I didn't go last year, but do plan to attend this year, partly because I'll be in our contingent that goes to the Pentagon to see the Air Force generals, and also get to say a word about the Compact Commission appointment from the governor. But also, one of the new legislators up there, Kendra Horn, was in my Leadership Oklahoma class a couple years ago, and so looking forward to seeing her in the House of Representatives while I'm there as well. Our regular board meeting comes up on May the 20th at 6 p.m. The last day of school, and also Enid High graduation, is May 23rd. That's a Thursday evening, May 23rd. 7:30 p.m. at Selby Stadium, and once again, we're going to cross our fingers. Don't even say, okay, nothing about weather. Moving on. And then the following day, on Friday, May 24th, is Teacher Work Day. Board members, I think Dr. Robinson already talked to everybody about their required annual board member financial disclosure statement, so if you haven't already gotten that to him, you can either send him your completed form or just bring it to the May 2nd noon board meeting and turn it in then, because the deadline is not until mid-May, right? Okay. And then we're really excited to roll out our EPS employee child care for next school year. We think that will be a very important retention tool for teachers and something that not a lot of school districts can offer. We're not in this to make money. We hope to come somewhere close to breaking even, but it is really a retention tool for employees, and hopefully that will, as Dr. Garn's document stated, that this teacher shortage issue is not only a statewide issue here in Oklahoma, but becoming a nationwide issue, and so everything we can do to try to retain teachers, recruit and retain teachers, we think that will help. So I thought I would turn it over to Mr. Rader to say a word about the employee child care that will be rolling out in the fall, because I wanted to say thank you to Randy for leading the charge on that as well.
My pleasure. We have moved forward past kind of the preliminary stages of determining if there was even a need, and we've had a great response from our teachers. We feel like there definitely is a need. I think we have about 28 babies and toddlers that will utilize the program, and of course if we hire any new teachers, it will be open to any new teachers. It's not just open to teachers, also open to support staff. We're in the process of hiring a child care director, which has been posted, and we have a nice applicant pool right now. We have set our first round of interviews for next Wednesday, and I've got a committee that's going to sit with me and interview those candidates. So if anybody's out there listening, if they want to apply, we're still looking at those applications. We still have some time slots. So, but we'll do that once we get the applicant selected. There are a number of things that have to be done by that child care director. They have to meet a lot of requirements. We are going to be DHS licensed, so obviously we'll follow the law there, and the director will get all of their licensing in, and as soon as that is done, then I will turn in the application for the daycare with DHS. The reason it has to be done in that order is because the director has to be in place before you can get your license, and once you submit it, DHS has 45 days to approve it. And if for some reason the director was not fully licensed at that time and we got outside that 45-day window, we'd have to start that application process again, which I really don't want to do. So again, we have some good applicants. We're excited to offer this, and I'm at about 98% sure that we'll be up and running. I've been communicating with the teachers about that, and I've just periodically said, hey, we're still good, we're still moving forward, and once we select that director, I know we'll for sure be able to make it happen. Any questions?
I did want to mention that the location for that will be Garfield Elementary, and the reason we chose that site is because with the new construction over there, they have the space to be able to do it, but also the pickup and drop off over there is plenty of parking over there, plenty of easy pickup and drop off, and so those are the reasons that we chose that site, and I think it will work out very nicely. Any questions for me or Randy on that topic?
I don't really have a question. I just wanted to say thank you, Randy, because I had a ton of questions for him, and he came back with all my answers. But I do think one of the most imperative things, which I know you see, is keeping the teachers and the staff in the loop of how things are moving so they can plan appropriately for next year, so we're not sitting with empty rooms.
Yeah, and that's another reason we're rolling it out so early, is so people can make plans for what they're doing with their kids come fall. So that's good.
I think we'll have an answer by the end of June. I don't see why we wouldn't, especially given the fact that by this time next week by the end of next week we probably should have a director in place and start that process. And so I feel real good about it.
Thank you.
Just two final dates I wanted to mention to you in case you'd like to join us for these events. Baccalaureate services will be Sunday, May the 19th at the high school auditorium, 6:30 p.m. And then the Senior Awards Assembly, if you'd like to attend that, will be on May the 21st at 6:30 p.m. in the high school auditorium as well. And that concludes the A through Z superintendent report.
Plus Z1 and Z2.
Well, yeah.
Just going to point that out. Thank you, Dr. Floyd. Okay, moving into regular business. I believe we can take item 4A through
A1 through 6.
A1 through 6. Yes, we can take all of those. I have a motion to approve.
Move we approve.
Entertain a second.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? And the motion passes.
Pull that microphone a little closer to you if you can.
Moving on to item 4B, discussion and possible action to approve the district financial report for March of 2019. Dr. Robinson.
Well, this month we're going to take a little bit different approach to the finance report. Other than just telling you that collections are good, I want to talk about a few things that are kind of encumbrances, kind of part of financial report. One of those things is that EPS Police Department is cooperating and working with the Enid Police Department on dispatching and record and reporting services. That is a cost of $3,600 to the district, but I believe it's going to be money well spent. If a campus was to pick up the phone and dial 911, Enid Police Department can now also reach our police officers through our radio system and dispatch them as well as the Enid Police Department. The other thing is with reporting and records, this allows for a more secure format for records retention and for keeping those, because many of the things our police department deal with are just like the Enid Police Department. If there's assaults and those kind of things, those are records that we just don't want to have in a filing cabinet next to the food court at the high school. So this is a digital records retention. It also allows for redaction that will go on a form that could be heard or seen in a court, or if an attorney needs something along the way. We hope those things never happen, but there's always a possibility. So it gives us a lot of valuable tools that we would otherwise have to purchase on our own at a much higher cost, but we're able to work with the actual Enid Police Department and use their services as well. So shared services save funds and give us a better item for use. The other thing that we're looking at doing that goes with the finance report is we're looking at a purchasing card system. And a purchasing card is just a nice term that school districts use for credit card, because credit card is kind of a scary term when school districts talk about it. Purchasing card, the way I plan to utilize it for the district is to pay our bills with. Instead of writing a check, we can use a credit card to pay many of our bills with. They're called e-pays is what they actually are. And we can get anywhere from 1 to 1.5% cash back. We have to turn some financials over to, we're looking at two different banking institutions, and one of those is Arvest, which has a fixed flat rate of 1.5% on that. And then Chase is the other one. We have to turn some financials over to both those institutions, because with Chase, depending on how many transactions with who we make those, they could go actually above 1.5%. So we're kind of vetting those two banks against each other. Those are the two most common used in the state that I've identified. So we feel pretty comfortable with their records, with how they report things to us, because to me that's the most important, is that we're able to track those purchases item by item through that purchasing system. The other way that cards can be used is we struggle with student and staff travel. Hotels, they do not take purchase orders anymore. And so in order to reserve a room, we have to use one of two district credit cards. One of those is in my name, the other one is in Rick Moulton's name for purchases that he has to make. we do not check those out for anyone to take with them. In fact, Dr. Floyd, I believe, is the only person in the district to have taken the credit card with my name on it, just to make sure he wasn't locked out of getting a hotel on a trip. But he's superintendent. We trust that he's going to take care of those things. Yeah. Handing a credit card over to a teacher or a coach or somebody along the way does bring risk, but I think it also can bring rewards with it. And those cards, when they're used to pay for hotels, to pay for student meals, they're going to provide us anywhere from 1 to 1.5% cash back as well, just like your credit card that you might have the reward system on it. And it also allows us to reserve rooms and allow that person traveling to take that card with them and not have the worry of having to put it on their own credit card and have to pay for that room and then be reimbursed by the district after a board meeting like this. So I think it's going to be a value savings to the district for employees that they don't have to put things on their own card, and we're going to get some revenue off of those purchases, which is always a good thing. The more revenue we have, the better off we are. Just for example, I think Jeff is going to make a $135,000 laptop purchase. It would be my hope that maybe we can have purchasing cards in place for that purchase. And if we could come back and we could make $1,300 off of that purchase, that's actually another laptop we could purchase based on that cash back. So I think there's a lot of value in that, and that's kind of why I bring it to your attention through the finance report.
Yeah, and I'll just chime in there on the that issue. Sam and I have already talked about the need to have appropriate internal control measures there to be able to monitor that process and make sure that we don't go down some of the negative paths that some other school districts have in regard to credit cards. And in my career, I've seen some doozies. So Sam and I've already talked about that, and we'll ensure that those internal control measures are in place.
That's right. And once we know what company you're going with, then the policy procedures come along. We would definitely present those to you guys as well, so that way you know and are in good standing with what we're doing as a district to secure those purchases. The last thing I want to speak about is the Eisenhower power surge. There was a power surge at Eisenhower over spring break. Thank goodness it was spring break, and we had the entire building shut down except for one item, and that was the fire alarm system. The fire alarm system was completely vaporized, I guess is a good term for it. A black screen was on there. And we had to replace the old system. The replacement of that system was $17,000. Out of that $17,000, our insurance company paid $12,000 in replacement. We have a $5,000 deductible for those kind of things, so that was covered. Thankfully, like I said, nothing else was on in the building, so very minimal damage when you can consider what all could have been powered on and damaged through that power surge. And I believe OG&E and Vance have kind of worked through that issue, is my understanding, so we shouldn't have any more issues out there.
I think, just for your information, it started out at Vance, and then the surge, I was not aware of this, but Vance actually is on their own system, Vance Air Force Base is, but the surge was such that it eventually got to OG&E's system, and it then did flip one of the main breakers and prevented some much more significant damage. So that's what Dr. Robinson's talking about, that Vance and OG&E are working through right now. But could have been a lot worse. Good thing it was over spring break.
That's right. And that concludes my finance report.
Dr. Robinson, I have a question on the purchase cards.
Okay.
I like that term better. Building sites, will principals have access to one for their building, or?
We have not really gotten that far. The hope is that one day, yes, we can do that. The initial thought is that those cards will be kept here. When a campus principal needs a card for their campus, then we would check that card out to them for that period of the purchase. So if that principal, just Walmart, for example, Walmart does not take purchase orders. They need to go to Walmart for an item. That's the only place they can get it. They would check out that purchase order or that purchasing card for tomorrow, make that purchase tomorrow, and then return that card to us Wednesday morning or in the afternoon, depending on when that purchase is made. Because we know if we keep them out of their hands, they're less likely to make a false purchase on it.
That's true. Okay, thank you.
Okay. Yes.
Okay. Are you done with financial report?
Finance report concluded.
Okay, moving on to item 4C.
I think we
I need to
approve
motion.
that.
Yes.
Sorry.
It's okay.
Keep me in line. Okay, I will entertain a motion to approve the discussion and possible action to approve the district financial report.
Move we approve. Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? And it passes. So now moving on to item 4C. Discussion and possible action to approve the following contracts and agreements. Dr. Robinson, I will turn this one over to you.
Well, I can go into a lot of detail on these contracts, or I can keep it pretty brief, so whatever you guys want, just
I
ask
vote for the
questions.
second part.
Okay, I will keep it brief. These are all contracts that we have had for many, many years, and if there's any questions, I'll entertain them. If not, look for a motion to approve all 4 of those contracts.
So are all of these items 1 through 4 renewals of contracts we've already had in place previously?
Yes, they are.
Okay, and so one is software service, the other one is gas sales agreement, the third one is, that's our drug dogs, and then the fourth one is the school to work study contract.
Okay. I'll entertain a motion to approve item 4C 1 through 4.
I make that motion.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? And the motion carries. Item 4D, discussion and possible action to approve the transfer of principal and interest of the Judge George Howard Wilson Scholarship from Fund 50 to Fund 67 at the request of George Wilson.
So we've got several items here, 4D through J, that will need action individually on each of these. So on each of them, I'll just ask Dr. Robinson to say a word of explanation as to why we are doing it, and then we'll need to take action and move on to the next one.
All right, this is one of these unique scholarships that the family no longer wishes for the scholarship to be the interest only towards the scholarship. Fund 50 can only pay the interest. We're, by law, we cannot give any of the principal out in reward for scholarship. So the family has asked us to move this into Fund 67, which is gifts and endowments, and we can use that money to pay down the principal. So the family has made a wish that's $2,000 a year, and that should go for 5 years by making that move. So I look for a motion to approve the move of the Judge Howard Wilson Scholarship from Fund 50 to Fund 67.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? And the motion carries. Moving on to item 4E, discussion and possible action to approve the procurement plan for Enid Public Schools Child Nutrition Program, a USDA requirement. Dr. Robinson?
This is a USDA requirement that we have to have a written plan in place and, most importantly, signed by the board president. This procurement plan is not any different than how we've been procuring food items and non-food items for child nutrition. It's just a little more formalized and in the format that the USDA likes to read. So I look for a motion to approve that so we can continue our federal funding.
Move your food.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Moving on to item 4F, discussion and possible action to approve Resolution 643 to liquidate shares for $240 for the Spicklemeyer Award for EHS.
The Spicklemeyer Award is an award that the money is actually tied up in investment funds because that's the way it was given over to the district. Every year, the board has to approve that transaction for the liquidity of those shares to be given out as the reward for the Spicklemeyer Award. So we're waiting your wishes to get $240 from the fund.
Entertain a motion?
Move to approve.
Second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? And the motion carries. Item 4G, Resolution 644, discussion and possible action to approve the resolution for schools and libraries universal services, known as E-rate, for 2019 to the year 2019 to 2020. This resolution authorizes filing the Form 471 applications for funding year 2019 to 2020 and the payment of the applicant's share upon approval of funding and receipt of services. Thank you.
Just for some background, last year the board approved for Jeff Erbel to have the authority to sign this document. However, the board must approve a resolution every year for the E-rate. So Jeff will actually execute this once you guys approve. The importance of this that I think is worth mentioning is that if we do not utilize E-rate, our telephone and internet cost would be $636,000. With E-rate, our telephone and internet costs are $68,000. So not a little bit more than 10% of the overall cost. So it is definitely worth approving the E-rate resolution, in my opinion.
Entertain a motion.
Move we approve.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? And the motion carries. Item 4H, Resolution 645, Board to consider and take action on a resolution determining the maturities of and setting a date, time, and place for the sale of $8,635,000 general obligation combined purpose bonds of the school district.
Well, there's no shortcut to this one, so I'm going to have to read the resolution. This is the one resolution that we need to make sure we get correct, because this is how we keep operating our bond fund expenditures, is by getting this bond, paying down our debt, and keep our construction projects moving forward. So I'm going to read this resolution. Bear with me. It is a little lengthy. Resolution number 645 is a resolution fixing the amount of bonds to mature each year, fixing the time and place the bonds are to be sold, and authorizing the clerk to give notice of said sale as required by law. Whereas the issuance of $98,650,000 of general obligation building bonds by Independent School District number 57 of Garfield County, Oklahoma, has been duly authorized at an election held on the 9th day of February 2010 for that purpose, and whereas $53,430,000 of the $98,650,000 has previously been sold, issued, and delivered, and the Board of Education of Independent School District number 57 of Garfield County, Oklahoma, now desires to sell a 10th installment of $6,990,000, and whereas the issuance of $90,230,000 of general obligation building bonds by Independent School District number 57 of Garfield County, Oklahoma, has been duly authorized at an election held on the 9th day of February 2016 for that purpose, and whereas $2,220,000 of the $90,230,000 has previously been sold, issued, and delivered, and the Board of Education of Independent School District number 57 of Garfield County, Oklahoma, now desires to sell a fourth installment of $1,645,000, and whereas the Board of Education of Independent School District number 57 of Garfield County, Oklahoma, pursuant to Title 62 Oklahoma Statutes 2011, Section 354, desires to sell at this time $8,635,000 in bonds consisting of a combined issuance of $6,990,000 of building bonds authorized in election held on the 9th day of February 2010, and $1,645,000 of building bonds authorized in election held on the 9th day of February 2016. Now therefore be it resolved by the Board of Education of Independent School District number 57 of Garfield County, Oklahoma, Section 1, that the $8,635,000 of general obligation combined purpose bonds of Independent School District number 57 of Garfield County, Oklahoma, portions of which were voted on the 9th day of February 2010 and the 9th day of February 2016, shall be offered for sale at the Boardroom Administrative Services Center, Enid Public Schools, 500 South Independence, Enid, Oklahoma, on the 2nd day of May 2019 at 11:30 a.m., said bonds to become due.
Hold it. Are we having the meeting at 11:30 or 12?
That 11:30 is the sale of the bonds. 12 o'clock is the meeting to approve the sale.
Okay, so action at 12.
We are still good.
Action at 12, we're good.
That's right.
Okay.
Continuing on, $8,635,000 in 2 years from their date. Section 2, that the clerk of the Board of Education is hereby ordered and directed to cause notice of the sale of said bonds to be given as required by law, adopted this 15th day of April 2019. End of resolution.
Very good. Can you repeat that? I'll entertain a motion.
Move we approve. Second.
Any discussion? Willa Joe approved. Matt second. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? And the motion carries. You did a great job.
Just for clarification, the bond sale has to happen before the board can take action. You approve the sale tonight, sale will happen, and you guys will take action to approve the sales. So that's where the 11:30 timeframe comes into play.
But we are still meeting at 12.
Still meeting
that
at
day.
12 o'clock. Yes.
Should be a short meeting. We
Short
might
meeting.
have one other item on there, but we're not sure yet, but it'll be quick.
Okay, thank you. Item 4I, discussion and possible action to approve an increase in architectural services for the following EPS construction projects.
Just as a point of reference, these are my favorite things to approve, the architectural fees. Not really. It is one of the necessary evils that we have in the state of Oklahoma. We are required to have an architect on a job. The architect's contracts all are represented at 6% of total bid price. And if you'll recall, all of these projects, Adams, EPS Northwestern, and Longfellow, all bid well over their estimates. The estimates is what the original purchase orders were placed for. This purchase order increase represents the bid price to get us to that full 6% for these architects. So, and again, these are estimated costs because there are also kind of fees and different things that come along. Reimbursables is actually what they call them in the architecture world. So this is the best estimate. We hope that it's not to exceed and actually comes in lower than the price that is given there. So for Adams Elementary School, increase of $125,000. For the EPS Northwestern Early Childhood Learning Center, $125,000. And then for Longfellow Middle School, the Stacy Group, $145,000. And you can take all of those in one motion if you would like.
Okay, so I will entertain a motion to approve item 4I, 1 through 3.
Move we approve.
Second? Anyone? Willa Joe, thank you. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And the motion carries. Moving on to item 4J, discussion and possible action to approve a change order to the contract with Henson Construction for the Waller Middle School project, a deduction of $80,688.
Now we're moving in the right direction. Yeah.
Now we like talking about this.
I got this went on the agenda
That's
in
right.
this order. It's good.
Wanted to end on a good note with my part of the report. So this is the good news. The district is getting $80,688 back. This is positive.
That's a great report. And entertain a motion.
Move we approve. Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And the motion carries. Thank you, Dr. Robinson. Okay, Dr. Floyd, is there any new business?
No, ma'am.
Okay, moving on to reports and items of information, board comments and/or questions. Colonel Cohen is not present, so we don't have any from him. Does anyone else have anything to say? No? I'll take your silence as an answer. Okay, moving on to item 7. We have a special meeting, as we've said a few times tonight, May 2nd, 2019 at 12 o'clock here in the Administrative Services Center boardroom. And there's no action on that. Item 8, next regular board meeting, May 20th, 2019 at 6 p.m. here in the same room. Moving on, item 9, discussion and possible action to approve a proposed executive session to discuss hiring the administrators listed on the attached Exhibit A for the 2019-2020 school year and the employment of those individuals and/or positions listed on the attached Exhibit B pursuant to 20, do I have to read all of it? Can
Just
we
the
skip?
topics, if you will.
Okay, possible purchase of appraisal of real property and to discuss the suspension and educational records of a minor student whereby disclosure of any additional information would violate FERPA. Entertain a motion?
So moved.
And a second? Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, and we will go to executive session now.
All righty. Yep, I know, yeah, that's longer than normal.